You've decided you want to make money as a copywriter. But where do you start? How do you get your first client? And can you even get your first client without having a portfolio? Yes, you can. And you can also get paid more than $1,000 per month. My name is Darius Lucas, and I've built 2 six-figure businesses using my copywriting skills. And I'm here to show you how you can turn your words into cash in the bank. So let's get started. Let's start with level 1, which is identify who you are going to serve. This is a very important step because a lot of the time, copywriters would start their journey and would want to sell their services, but they wouldn't know whom they are selling their services for. It sounds kind of obvious, for most people that, well, I've become a copywriter, so I can copyright for anybody. Well, the market doesn't work that way, and you need to have your niche, you need to have your area of expertise and start approaching clients in that particular field. Now, how do you do that? So I'm going to share a few questions that will help you do that. So first, I'd like you to answer one question, which is, what are you most interested in? What are the subject matters that you are most interested in? What are the topics that you want to be exploring? What are you naturally passionate about? And write that down. Now, secondly, I'd like you to answer, what are the industries and businesses around you, your local area, or in terms of your level of awareness that you can help and that need help? So whilst in the first question you were thinking of what you are passionate about, in the second question you want to be asking, who needs my help? What are the businesses that are willing to pay me to do the work? And lastly, once you've answered the second question, I want you to be looking for a crossover. So for a lot of the people, finding that crossover is quite challenging. For example, I had one client who wanted to work as a copywriter in the fields of sustainability and climate change. Now, this is not the field that pays the most, but this is something that they're passionate about. And they started approaching a bunch of NGOs. Now, that's very well, but a lot of NGOs do not have the money to pay you. So what I said to this person, can you approach any fashion brands that focus on sustainability and that need your help? And this person went out and found this local fashion brand that did have the money to pay them, and he started copywriting for them. So this is the strategy. You need to take what you know, or what you can write about, or what you want to write about, or what you're passionate about, and link it to what businesses need. So another good example that I've recently had was this person who wanted to do copywriting for spiritual leaders and to write about spirituality. Again, this is one of those fields that are tricky to get paid in. So I said to her, what's the closest to spirituality that you can write about? And then she said yoga. So I said to her, why don't you go out and find cool yoga studios, approach them and start writing for them? And so she did. So you see how your passion can be linked to what the world and the businesses need from you. Now, if you're finding value in this video, click like and subscribe, because this is the channel where you learn how to turn your words into cash flow. And by the way, by the time we get to strategy 4, I'll share with you a very good strategy to approach clients, to approach businesses, and get them signed as your client. And now we move on to level 2 strategy. This is where we identify how you are going to serve your client and what products or services you are going to offer them. Now, this is another mistake that I see beginner copywriters make, is that they think, now I've started to be this copywriter, so I can write anything for anybody. And now we addressed this idea that you can't write for anybody and everybody, and you have to be more specific. Well, now this is the case with providing the right products or services for your clients and identifying how you can best serve them. What I'd like you to think is, what are the types of services you are going to provide? This can be website copy, social media copy, Facebook ad copy, newsletters, sales pages, you name it. So you need to decide what types of copywriting you're willing to do, that when you come into your conversation with your client, you can be specific and tell them these are the services that I can provide for you. I do weekly newsletter, or I do landing pages, or I do Facebook ads, or I can produce for you a new brochure. Whatever that is, you want to be specific. So I'd say spend a few minutes freestyling and brainstorming what are the types of services that you are capable of providing. And don't worry if you don't have particular experience or set of skills in some of these areas. You can learn it. You can actually learn how to write Facebook ads, and this channel will help you do that. You can learn how to, write emails. So just think what types of services your clients need and what can you provide them with. And this is where level 3 strategy comes in. Understand your market. When you started thinking about what products or services you can provide your clients with, this is the right time to go all in and research what your clients need. In this case, for example, the client that I mentioned, once she picked yoga studios, she looked up all of the yoga studios in her local area. She looked up every yoga studio in Washington, D.C. She understood how they were marketing. She looked at what types of marketing was failing. She analyzed what help they might need, and she was very thorough about it. So this is exactly what I want you to do. I want you now to spend some time really researching your industry. And you can do that globally, or you can do that as my client did in a particular city. And as you go through that, write down your observations. Write down what you think your clients are doing well, your potential clients. Write down what they are doing well. Write down where their marketing is really not that good. So for example, identify businesses that are doing it well and identify those that don't. Also look up the businesses that have an online presence and identify those that don't or have very little of it, because those people are your potential clients. And another good strategy that I advised my client to follow was identify, for example, yoga studios that were listed on Google Maps, that you can find them as businesses, and yet they didn't have a website, or they just had a Facebook page, or they had a website, but it was really bad and they didn't have a social media presence at all. So I said, these are your clients, you can be approaching them. Now, once you've done this client analysis, once you've done this thorough research, which shouldn't take you more than half a day, it's not something that you should spend a week on, max a day, you can now move on to level 4, plan and execute. And this is where you take action. And I'm just about to share with you how you should be approaching clients and how you should be signing new clients. So now we move on to level 4, plan and execute. At this stage, we create an action plan for you and we map out the steps that you should be taking in the next 3 months. And towards the end of the level 4 strategy, I'll share with you how you could be approaching your clients that you've identified as your potential clients. So first, what I want you to do is to really map out your strategy for the next 3 months. I want you to drop the list of clients, potential clients that you are going to be approaching. So drop that list, and next to each client, list the deadline by which you will reach out to that potential client. I then want you to have a number in mind that you want to have made by the end of those 3 months. This number can be $3,000 for the entire 3 months. It can be a higher or lower number depending on what your goal is. But I want you to be specific. I want you to look at that client list that you've drawn up for yourself and think, what is the number that I want to make out of some of these clients? And write down that number and be very specific. If it's $1,000, write down $1,000 in these 3 months. If it's $3,000, then you write $3,000, and so it goes. So for example, you wrote down $3,000. Now, how many clients do you need to enlist to make $3,000 in 3 months? That could be 3 clients that pay you $1,000 each. It could be one client that stays with you on a retainer basis and pays you monthly $1,000. This would be the easiest. Or it could be a bunch of clients, like 6 clients, that pay you $500 each. So I want you to decide how many clients you will need to get to the number that you've identified for yourself, because that will simplify the process. Because saying I want to make 1,000, 3,000, or 10,000 doesn't really help. But if you break it down into the amount of clients that you need to hit this number, it all becomes simpler and easier. So how many clients do you need to hit the number that you've just identified for yourself? Okay, the time has come for me to share the strategy how you could be approaching businesses and adding value and signing them as your clients. First, grab the list of potential clients that you've compiled for yourself and do this. When you approach every business on the list, approach them either messaging them on Instagram, Facebook, email, or calling them, even dropping by their office in your local town, and sharing with them at least 3 to 5 things, pointers that they could be improving in terms of their copy, their website, their marketing, their emails, their ads, something that they could see as very actionable and they could see that you have the expertise to help them. But the catch here is that even if they don't work with you, you would have added value to them. You would have helped them already, which gives you leverage in the conversation, which establishes your authority and expertise, because they might be looking at what you've written down for them and say, why would I hire anybody else if this person has done the legwork, if this person has spent time going over my business and thinking what I could do better? They might just ask you, so what do you want to get paid for that? And this is where you sign your client. Now, but you might say to me, well, Darius, but what if this doesn't happen? What if they don't work with me? What if they say thank you, but no? There's another good way to do it. And this is you telling them, okay, I get it, but would you work with me if my services were free, if I didn't charge you? And get the answer. They would probably say, yes, I would actually, yes. So then say to them, awesome. So what I can do now, I can implement number 1 and number 2 on our list of things to improve for free. You don't have to pay me, I will do that for you. Now, if you like what I've done, let's talk about working together then. And now the chances are much higher that they would say yes, because they would have already agreed that they would need your services had they been free. And if you're already giving them value and helping them with what's on your list of improvements for free, I mean, it's a no-brainer to start working with you by the end of you completing that help, by the end of you doing that work for them. Now, if you want more tips, more strategies, more pointers on how to become a better copywriter and how to establish your copywriting business and scale it to the next level, I've created a free copywriting course for you that can really help you hone your copywriting skills and actually build your business. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you very soon. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. See you soon.